Welcome back to The Big Idea. Tonight, who's afraid of the big bad bubble? Internet companies are making billions again, and people just like you and me are cashing in big time by turning a great idea into a solid moneymaker. My next guest is turning online sales of a single item into the fastest growing business in America.
The company, StubHub. The big idea. StubHub was the brainchild of a couple of guys working their way through Stanford Business School. It's an online site selling tickets to any big event you want. Sports, concerts, theater, even the circus. This system makes everyone happy. People with extra tickets sell what they don't use. People with no tickets buy what they couldn't find anywhere else. The bucks. StubHub is expecting to move 2 million tickets this year for a total of $400 million in gross sales. Right now, business is growing so fast, StubHub was named by Inc. magazine as the fastest growing private company in the U.S. What's next? StubHub is now expanding internationally and building bridges with more and more sports teams, going after an even bigger stake of the annual $10 billion ticket market.
Jeff Fluhr, founder and CEO of StubHub. Welcome to the show. I love this business, a $400 million business. You're basically scalping tickets online. Is that fair to say?
I don't know if I would call it that, Donny, but it's basically a marketplace on the internet, safe and protected, where fans can buy and sell tickets. If you're a season ticket holder, you get 81 home games for Yankees season tickets. You can't go to 81 games. You can go to StubHub, resell the tickets you can't use, and everything's guaranteed for both the buyer and the seller.
It's a great business because historically, obviously, it's not the first time we see the resale and ticket business. We've got these expensive brokers. You have the illegal guys that show up at games. And to your point, I guess I got a Knick ticket. I don't want to go. I can just online put it on there. It's not an auction. It's not like eBay. Somebody hits the bid, boom. You take your VIG from them. You take your VIG from me. Everybody goes home happy.
That's right. We don't actually buy tickets. We don't actually sell tickets. We just create the marketplace. So, fans go on. They set a price as the seller of the tickets. The buyer comes. They buy tickets at that price. The transaction happens. We make money. We charge a seller percentage fee and a buyer percentage fee.
Take me back to the beginning where you're a Wharton grad, engineering, you're in business school. Where's StubHub come from?
Yeah, so actually when I was at Penn, and I know you went to Penn as well, when I was at Penn, I thought we were really lucky because the 4 years I was there, we won the Ivy Leagues, 3 years for basketball and 2 years for football. One of the years when we won the Ivy Leagues for basketball, I decided I was going to go with a bunch of buddies in my fraternity to go see Penn play in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Sure enough, went to see the game at Nassau Coliseum in Long Island. I didn't have any tickets, but my buddies were all sitting in the same section. So I'm sitting there in the parking lot. I'm buying tickets as close as I could get to my friends, but still wasn't in the same section. So there was still like another half an hour before the game was going to start. So I'm wheeling and dealing in the parking lot, trying to trade up closer and closer to where my friends are sitting in the same section. Actually did a couple of transactions, 2 or 3 transactions in the parking lot before I got tickets in the same section. So that was kind of my first experience buying and selling tickets. And I thought, well, gee, this is a totally inefficient market. The consumer does not feel comfortable and safe when they're buying tickets in a parking lot from some guy in a trench coat. And it's just, there's a lot of problems from a consumer's perspective in the options that were out there prior to StubHub. So that was sort of when the light bulb went on. And then I was at business school years later, and a guy who I became friends with at business school and I were sitting around talking about the ticketing business, and we really kind of got excited about this. We wrote a business plan for the business plan competition at Stanford. We were selected for the final round. We ultimately did not submit our business plan into the final round because we didn't want.
You knew you had a real business, and you're like, I'm not taking some $10,000 cash prize from the university. I'm doing this thing.
That's exactly right. So you would have won $25,000 or something, and I said, and the guy I started the company with, we said, this doesn't make sense for us right now. We don't want to attract more attention to this than we already have. So we pulled out of that competition. But that was really the beginning, and that's when everything started.
To me, the vulnerability, though, if I'm George Steinbrenner, anytime I see more than once or twice a season's ticket holder selling tickets, I'm yanking the season's tickets away because basically you guys are creating this new market, and so that to me would be the big scare.
Well, the reality is that the secondary market actually benefits the teams and the venues. Most teams and venues have realized that and have actually, many have embraced the secondary ticket market, and a lot of them work with StubHub, and we're their the official provider for the Washington Redskins or the Atlanta Falcons or the New Jersey Nets, where you can buy and sell tickets on StubHub as the official marketplace, the official partner. There are a couple teams, the Yankees is a perfect example, that have taken more of a hostile perspective towards this. markets. And I'm not here to tell the Yankees how to do their business, but ultimately we think this is a good thing for the Yankees.
Steinbrenner watches the show every night. Look in the camera, tell him why it is a good thing. Let's do the pitch.
You know, George, I think this is a good thing for your business.
Why?
You know why? Because number one, it helps them reduce no-shows in the venue. So instead of having empty seats where people can't go to the game, tickets get into the hands of someone who goes, who buys a pizza,
sure.
Exactly, buys a beer, pays for parking. Those are high margin money makers for the teams. So that's important. Fill the seats. Number two, it helps them sell more season tickets. So not every team is like the Yankees with so much demand.
So you're afraid I don't want to go to 41 basketball games.
Yeah,
I can go to 15. I know I can get rid of the other 25.
Exactly. Right. If you're the New Jersey Nets, and you're not completely sold out to season ticket holders, the more season tickets you sell, the better. You're much more likely to sell a 41 game package to somebody if they know there's a way to resell 10 or 20 games you can't go to. So that secondary market actually builds value in the primary market.
Something that impressed me about you guys is you kind of launched right when the bubble was bursting. I mean, to go and sell an internet business, sell to investors, that's a tough deal there.
Yeah, I mean, and the timing is really ironic because this business plan competition I just told you about, that was literally February of 2000. We incorporated in March of 2000, and the stock market cratered in pretty much April of 2000 was sort of the beginning of the end of the dot-com bubble. And it's interesting to look at our progression and the evolution of our strategy because we were sort of trying to bob and weave with what was going on in the broader internet market. But yeah, it was raising those first few rounds of capital. For us was difficult in an environment where if you said consumer internet, you were kind of saying a bad word basically. So for us it was about getting real traction. Every time we were raising money between rounds, we had real progress.
Real stories.
Deals with Major League Baseball, deals with big media properties like MSN, real revenue, real growth, and a model that, frankly, like you said, a lot of people said, "Duh, this is not that complicated." Makes a ton of sense, and people saw the opportunity.
The big buck businesses are the ones that after you go, "Duh." Jeff Fluhr, continued success, man. Great story.
Thanks very much.
Love when the Penn graduates do well. We got more big idea. Don't go anywhere.